What are we talking about today?
I don't know. I mean, you look like a sexy psychiatrist.
Well, there's not many things that I feel comfortable in that I can fit into.
Well, congratulations. You look great.
Thank you. Okay, what are we talking about today?
I guess this is officially our first podcast. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Real fucking dentistry. So, do you want to start with dentistry? Or do you want to start with your personal?
No, whatever.
We didn't even think about it. We messed up the first one. Yeah, start personal.
Me?
Yeah. I don't know how I can help you unless you start.
Well, it's more about you.
What are you talking about? It's more about you. What is?
Oh, you had things you want to talk about. Yeah.
No, come on. Let's. Come on. What did you want to talk about? That's why I asked you. Like, what were the bullet points that we wrote down?
We just wrote down a couple of things. So we said, so this is our ugly chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start with the ugly chapter.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's start with that. Why do you feel like this is our ugly chapter?
I have a hard time with this today.
You do?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like just talking about it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you don't look like that. Like someday, okay, so you feel like it's our ugly chapter because there's days that you just feel like you're a victim of the circumstances, like what's going on in life, just trying to like deal with problem this, problem that, and none of it is sexy. Like
yes, I feel
going
like
from professional to mom life.
Well, yes, I feel like before I was in a lot of control of what I did during my day, and there were most of the times it was successful, right? What I did, the work that I did at the end of the hour, success. I did a filling, success. We did a case, success. Big case, different step, successes along the way. Of course, lots of challenges, but we've always been able to overcome them. And so it's always felt like there are these successes, and then you deal with challenges of life. I mean, everybody has challenges, but the professional successes really help to offset any challenges that were extra difficult, because it gives you this confidence that you can do something that's already challenging and very specific, and you're very happy with yourself. So now take me back to this role of staying at home and taking care of a newborn and a toddler, and everything's just a mess. And schedules are all over the place. I can't get meals ready. I can't get myself ready. I was saying I don't even have a full-size mirror. I don't care. I understand how mothers say they forget to brush their teeth or floss their teeth. It's not that you forget. It's just you don't have time and you get interrupted in the middle of your own routine. So there are just so many things that end up feeling like a failure.
In comparison to what you're used to going through and the successes that you're used to feeling before.
Right.
Well, yeah, I get that. I get that because you were an extremely sexy, successful, beautiful dentist. I love you.
I love you too.
So, can I talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
So, for me, the time working with you, in your studio was the best time in my 30 years. That was the best time in my 30 years in dentistry. Everything that I learned that was beautiful about the art of what we do, I got to express in the best way with you. And it was awesome, you know, like two passionate people, two passionate artists, extremely driven, that were able to make the chemistry work and respect each other. And unless somebody's there and sees what it's like to have a cosmetic patient in the chair and, oh, there's a little hiccup, how are we going to address that? And they see how you and I respect each other boundary wise and just make it happen. Like that's the art. The art is you and I and our patient. And yeah, it's beautiful. And it was the most fun. And what I love and respect about, and I thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
What I love and respect about us most is how we push outside of work, how we push to play, how we really, and it's easy to, you know, the work stuff is seen by a lot of people, like, right? Social media, whatever, and we're lecturing and all of that. And it's, so you get used to that audience, and it's easy to hide behind that, and it's easy to lose track of home and what's really important. And I've lived a lot of my life doing that too, because it's, you know, we're doing art. Art's such a great thing when you get respected for art. You're respected for art and you're delivering art to people. And it's easy to hide behind that and not really deal with the stuff at home. You know, we're both part of failed marriages before we got together. And what I love the most is how driven we are to keep our home life growing and the strongest. And so I really love and respect and appreciate you so much for making that choice, for stepping back because you wanted to have another child, which was going to be impossible to do and run the studio. I mean, for those that don't know, we had Hendrix at the studio every single day, you know, and a marble floor, the classiest studio in Indiana by far, which just by far the sexiest dental studio. And then we had a baby with us every day for a year and a half. And when you got pregnant with the second baby, you know, that was a big choice that you had to make. We weren't going to be able to make that work with two babies at the dental practice.
Well, I think a lot of professional women have that situation where they have babies and they go back to work and the babies go to daycare. Unless they have a family member like a mom, you know, mom that can take care of them. So the baby's grandma. But child goes to daycare and business carries on as usual. But that's not really what we wanted to do. I didn't want to give a 3-month-old to daycare. For me, that was not a good choice for me. Mm-hmm. And be in a still like relatively new practice that had really, really high overhead, and it wasn't making enough money for me to feel confident to take some time off. And it was in a place where I was struggling to get an associate. Mm-hmm. So for one dentist, it was too big of a space and too costly. Mm-hmm. I could have done the work that I was doing out of like a third of the space and still have you there. And I would have been perfectly happy doing my own work. But this way I had a place that was too big. It was meant for at least 2 dentists. And so I had to produce enough to keep that going and not really take a paycheck. So it was just a mismatch of business, like physical structure, and my goals and my vision and location, right?
Yep. Yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
You learned a lot. I learned a lot being part of that. You know, it confirms so many things. And we talked about that yesterday, how location, because we're looking to start a couple new businesses. And I know location for one of them in particular is like the number one thing is location of where we put it, convenience, right? And so, but yeah, it's not like you didn't try. You had many people come in that for whatever reason, you know, not to your fault. I know, because I was there, they just didn't work out. You know, people come in with expectations and they think that because you asked them to come, that you're going to have everything laid out like a 7-course meal for them.
You mean associate dentist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Well,
you know, it's like the mentality of people in every industry. People see the mentality changing in people, and just kind of their expectations, what people's expectations are compared to what their value really is, and what they're really showing up to contribute is much different. It doesn't line up. And we've seen an extreme difference in that, I think, since COVID. That really fucked with people mentally, just the fact that they were told what to do and so many people believed it, and whatever the excuse is. But you know, there were a lot of reasons why that didn't work. You tried to bring people in, you tried to grow that place, and it just wasn't right. You weren't willing to compromise your integrity, which I applaud you the most for.
well, I didn't want to run.
You know, but we did a lot. We did a lot still to keep it going. It's not like we just. I mean, how much dentistry did we give away, you and I? You know, I think I totaled up in just over 2 years. It was 180 something thousand that you and I gave away just to keep things going. And we didn't ever do it like marketing as a sale. We never marketed a sale. There were just people that we felt prompted to do certain things for. And we made that work for us.
Yeah, it was a great chapter for us, even though, like, in the end, business as a whole ended up to be a failed business because it wasn't sustained, like it didn't sustain itself or me. But for us, it was great to learn and grow together. We've done so much, and we can teach others about that.
Yeah. Yeah, the stresses, the realities of running a dental practice, like they're very consistent. Like everybody's dealing with the same stress, right? Like the same issues, the same things with insurance. How do we market ourselves? And yeah, we learned a lot, but we were able to successfully pull off what so many people desire. And that's having that in-house relationship of the ceramist and the clinician in a house. And
that was a dream come true.
Yeah, and we did it against everybody said this will never work.
No, everybody said our relationship would never work. Or
every single friend of mine told me, you have to pick, Mike. You have to pick. Either you fucking do her work or you fucking sleep with her, but not both. And I just hate being told what to do, you know? Like, I know how I felt about you, but I know how I truly felt about you and respected you professionally too. And so that was the constant battle at first, was just kind of keeping that separate, making sure that was separate. And because I just wanted my hands on you all the time when I first met you and saw you. And but I knew and was fully aware of how much I really loved and appreciated just doing dentistry and being able to like execute and have that whole thing right in front of me with somebody that we spoke the same language on behalf of the person that walked through the door. And that's where and why most people won't make that work, that in-house relationship. It takes two extremely driven artistic people to deliver an excellent product to somebody, but it takes two people that really communicate and they see art, they express art the same way for that to actually work, because otherwise you have this constant tension of how things should be, and you're always going to run into situations where I'm stressed out, you're stressed out, and we fucking butt heads, right? And somebody has to be aware of that and like say, oh, wait a minute, you know, and like back down kind of in that situation. And that doesn't, I've seen that not happen most times when other people try to partner up, and that's why things dissolve and just don't work out in-house. You really have to be humble and love who you're working with enough to like step back, know when you should step back.
For me, I think it was the main thing was the respect, because of course I love you and respect you, but if we didn't have a relationship outside of, like if we didn't have a romantic relationship, could we still work together? Right? And most people that are working together in-house don't have a romantic relationship.
Yes, but I told you right at the start that I wanted you, and I didn't care about your teeth.
Okay, but I'm saying it's about respect, because you express your art differently than I do. Like you are more artistic in what you do than on the same project what I do. I'm not trying to create an artistic prep. I'm trying to create a really functional prep for you. I'm trying to create clarity in my impressions, accuracy, consistency, and keep the patient comfortable. And I'm thinking about a lot of technical aspects. For me, it's a creative process in that, you know, I enjoy getting there. I enjoy the process once I start, but it's very technical.
Of course, like that. No, you just hit on the, like, I feel like the most important thing, because yeah, to validate and add to what you're saying, like after working with you, I respect working with you as much or more than sleeping with you, you know, because I would have quit doing what I was doing by now, going through COVID and everything, if I didn't have that excitement and that truth and that special thing. That is the art. Like you and I meeting the patient coming in, the patient being willing, us being able to figure out what the patient really wants, what's the best for the patient. That's the art, right? Like everybody, that chance of us being able to like really change somebody's life. That's the art. Like me putting a fucking crack line in, or a little distal blue, or whatever, or you cutting, this little lining. That's great. That's mechanically what we need to do. Like if we're going to execute like good looking aesthetic art, but like the art of what we do is really everything leading up to. It really is. I mean, that's the human experience, right? And that's what I'm most grateful. Like I miss that, not having that now, and going back to like all my clients are out of state. I have patients that fly here, and I love that, you know, because that's my chance to really see them and connect with them and deliver something special for them. But other than that, it's like, it's impossible. And I work with the very best people in the country, the very best people, and they communicate with me the very best. And we have a really great, loving respect for each other professionally, but it'll never be the same as getting to be there with you. And you say, hey, Mike, come meet this patient. I really want you to see this and see this situation. And then we go back to your room and we talk about, and we look at photos, and what can we do for this person? What's the right approach? What's the most non-invasive thing so it's healthy for the person long term? Like that's the fucking best. It's the best. And that's all. You can only get about, I think, 70-80% of that long distance. You know, and that's if I'm communicating with my doctors about every single case. You know, we got that communication about a single unit posterior, like one single back tooth. We took as serious as a full mouth rehab.
Yeah, and it's easy because you're there. But I mean, what I found really helpful was that I asked you for your opinion right in the beginning. You know, I didn't say, hey, Mike, we need to do these 4 teeth. Here's the picture. I wanted you to see, and I wanted to hear what can you do, because you know what you can do. You can look at a smile and you can say, okay, yeah, that tooth, but we'll need to include one more, or we'll need to include two more because the color is already so complex. We
or
need to go.
function or
Right.
whatever.
Whatever it is that you need to do. I don't like to speak for your capabilities, for your abilities. So that's where you can tell me what you can do, and then I can evaluate and see, what I think and what I can do, and where those two meet and where those two find a common platform. And that's the success.
That's where she's fucking different. Yeah, no, it's that's what blew me away. You were like that right from the very start. Like, you were very respectful and appreciative of my end, and you didn't try to speak for my end, which puts you in a bad place if you do that. That's what I don't get when clinicians I work with speak for me on my end of what I'm going to do that's best for the patient. Like, they fucking know the processes and materials that I use and what's strongest and best based off of some fucking flyer that they got from some jack off sales rep that came in trying to sell them a bill of goods. Like, that happens all the time. And you never did that. Not once. And you never even put on there, hey, let's use this material. Not once. You left that all in the hands of me, because that is my responsibility, right? Like, why would you want to be responsible for the material I'm going to use? Like,
right. I wanted to look good. I wanted to complement what the patient wants and the patient's face and smile. And I wanted to have the highest integrity. So yeah, whatever, and be functional, of course, all those factors, but you'll know based on the teeth. Some people have really opaque teeth, some people have really translucent teeth, different. And I also ask you about the preps too, right? And then if I tell you, like, if it's really healthy teeth and I really want to keep preps to absolute minimum, then now with this information, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to use? What can you do? Is that possible? And then you tell me, this is possible or this is not possible. Right. Or with this material, it's possible, but we need to also do this.
Yeah, which was an awesome experience in itself, because like the fact that you trusted me allowed me to be more open and really trust you. Like, you really do minimally invasive dentistry. And that for me, aesthetically, was an extreme challenge, because no matter what it was, you wanted it to always be the most minimal, and but we wanted it to look the best too, right? And so that really pushed me as an artist, and I love and appreciate that too, because that you did the things that I knew I absolutely needed for me to even attempt to do things in a tighter space. And that I mean, anybody can look at the work that you did. It's flawless. It's flawless.
Well, and in some situations I learned that I was too minimal. When I learned even with everything that you could do, I was too minimal, and then I was having a hard time cementing that in the right place. And right. Yeah, and I thought, you know what? I mean, nothing's going to happen if I take off a little bit more of the tooth structure, but have something that's much more predictable. Yeah. And predictable means long-term greater success. Yeah. So, right. I'm not talking about minimal versus completely butchering the tooth and leaving a little stump. I'm just talking about a very small aspect, yeah. just changing the prep design a bit.
Changing where finish lines are. Basically,
yeah. But I recognize that you're smart and you know a lot right from the beginning, and that you know what you're talking about. And I haven't had that before with a technician. And so ultimately, right, dentists know, okay, this case is my responsibility. Like, I'm the umbrella of the responsibility for this case. So if the lab work comes back and it's not correct and I cement it, that's my responsibility, not the technician's, right? You take that responsibility. So I think we're we're kind of raised in dental school, we're taught to give direction and take responsibility for that. And there are, I've heard of technicians that take just like a few weeks course and then they're in the bench and they do stuff and they do crowns, and you don't know who you're getting. So unless you're really seeking out somebody with knowledge and that experience, it's hard to let go of that, control, because you're giving someone kind of your section of responsibility and you're saying, I trust you the same as I would trust me with this case. And so that's what I did with you right away. Whereas before I haven't done that. And so a dentist that's not used to that is not used to be like, okay, what do you think the material here should be used? And not every technician will be keen to say, this is what I want to use and this is what I think about this. They're not maybe taught to have an opinion about this. They're just taught to follow the script. And they don't see their case in the mouth, so there's that disconnect, and so they ultimately don't care as much. So it's like, that's the reality. We had a very ideal situation where we could use my knowledge and my position and your knowledge and your position to come up with something really great, and especially working together in-house and both of us meeting the patient. Like that was the ultimate, I think.
It was the ultimate. That's the ultimate in any experience, in any relationship, any partnership, business-wise or anything, the right partner, right? Surround yourself with the right people so that you can go into it with trust and give 110% of your fucking best, no matter what the outcome is. Like, I trust this situation, I'm going to go in 110%. And that only comes by not fucking around and picking the right partners to begin with. And we did that with each other, but it was a really good lesson in life for me too, and in the past I hadn't been as selective, and in working with you, like now I truly only work with, it doesn't matter what someone pays me or offers me. I'm only working with somebody that I know we're gonna go on a second date.
Yeah, well, there's not that many people like that though.
No, there's not.
And so it's hard to make a living when there's a shortage of those kind of partners. You end up accepting, people tend to accept less than what they think they should because there's a shortage. Just like dentists end up accepting in network insurance, that's less than what they would like to do.
Yeah, people compromise. So, yeah, our dentistry was beautiful. It was awesome. But so was our life outside dentistry. And like, as messy as you think life is now, it's like we're doing exactly what we chose to do. So
I know. And when I built my practice, I was doing exactly what I chose to do too. I chose to build my practice, but for the first year and a half, it was the biggest chaos. And I had zero control over everything. I felt like everything was just slipping through my fingers. So this is kind of how I feel right now too. It's that stage. It would be much easier to go to work and do full mouth rehabs than to manage everything that I'm managing right now. Mm-hmm. And I realize mothers are doing this every single day, all over the place. Yeah.
You do it and look good though.
No, I don't. That's why it's called the ugly chapter. I don't look good doing it, and I'm not.
Why that's the way you're looking at it. So why are you looking at it like that?
I'm looking at it the way it is.
I don't know anybody that looks at you and thinks that, wow, she's really living an ugly mom life. Look at that.
That's because I don't appear anywhere. I don't FaceTime anymore. I don't post stuff anymore. I don't go out in public. I just try and contain.
Well, you should.
The chaos.
You should, because I think that you could change a lot of moms' lives just by showing up, looking like an awesome mom.
Yeah.
It's a big shift though, right? Big paradigm shift. You've handled it well though. You've handled it well. It's tough. We all want to handle things perfect and flawless and look like Pegasus and rainbows, but it's fucking tough. It's tough emotionally. It's tough for the ego when you're used to certain things and certain certain wins for the ego. And yeah, don't think at all that you're not getting massive fucking wins every day. Like you're raising 2 babies to be the healthiest, most beautiful babies and beautiful people. And that's the greatest contribution that you can do, you know, like you're a fucking awesome mom. You're so attentive to everything. It drives me nuts. Like you're developing perfect arch form on our baby that's a month and a half old. Like it's, you know, you're constantly looking at the airway of our 2-year-old. And I mean, this is all, and what they eat and sleep and everything, you know, it's like you're doing mom life as hard as you fucking can in a really healthy manner too. And I just want you to respect and love you and take those breaks for you so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And so that's where the constant balance, that's where the biggest change is for us, I think, right now, is trying to find that time where we create space for each other individually, but then for each other with each other, right?
Yeah.
Finding that time with each other, because even though we worked full time and had a baby before, we both were professionals working full time, probably 100 hours a week at least combined that we were working, at least, or more. And but we saw each other, like we were working together. It's like we were playing together almost, right? So now we don't have that. And so we're constantly trying to be aware of that and create that.
Okay, it's a wrap.
Is that it? That's probably enough about the subject you didn't want to talk about.
Right.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That is real fucking dentistry. And you know, the emotional part of that, like what we just talked about, there are so many moms, professionals that yeah, and I don't hear people like appropriately talking about it. They're sending out some virtue signaling fucking cry for help on social media. Oh, I want to commit suicide, or oh, like whatever the fuck, you know, that's like kind of fake. Like you see people doing stuff for attention, but like that's why I'm really excited to talk about this stuff, and because I want you to be as good and better with you as you possibly can, and the only way you do that is by talking. But two, like you are dealing with real life shit, and I feel like in healthy ways we are looking at and dealing with those problems, but you're navigating and working through those, and I think that like your story is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think though that on Instagram, what we normally see is always these success stories, right? We see like we post our best work, right. We'll edit this, we'll put it, like, I mean, some people edit their work. We don't edit our dentistry, but we'll put our logo or whatever, you know, that sometime has been put into the picture, into a video, into a reel, into something. There's so many moms that are dentists and there's so many moms that are dentists and professionals, and you know, they'll post the success, but you don't really see how things are falling apart. I mean, when I was working full time and our son was at our practice, I didn't raise him while I'm working. The receptionist is raising him or not, or he's watching too much iPad, too much YouTube. Or he doesn't even have a constant, you know, a routine schedule, but he's with me. If he cries, I know I can be there. And for me, that's just such an individual thing that was really important. Like I couldn't part with him. I had separation anxiety, right? Because I knew I have to go back to work so soon. But moms are doing it different ways all the time. And it's like, okay, like things are going great. Things are happening. They'll post something successful on Instagram. And it's like, what is the big deal? Like, what am I even talking about? What am I stressing about? I'm at home now. Like, what am I stressing about? I left my practice, just completely left it because there was nobody to buy it. Like, why is this such a big deal? Right? Why did I have to leave my profession? Like, why did I have to leave my profession for a while to do this? Moms just give their kids to daycare and they continue working. Right. What's the big deal? You know, why am I even talking about this? But it's obviously was so important to me that that's the decision I made. Like, that's a pretty extreme decision, I think.
It is an extreme decision.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like a stay-at-home mom forever. I just don't want to give my child the 3 months to daycare. That was my thing.
Everybody that knows you, right? You've had other clinicians that came to our house. We have other professionals that we're good friends with. They've all respected and loved the fact that you knew when it was right for you to step away for you.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Yeah. You know, and it's really easy to get caught up in, oh, well, what will the patients think and what will other professionals, like it's easy but fuck all that. Like I love that those few that really know us that like immediately stepped forward and said, you know, like I really respect the fact that you knew when it was time to step back for you. Because a lot of people don't do that. And then that turns into a big snowball of shit in their life too, because they're not respecting themselves. You respected yourself by making that decision. It wasn't an easy choice, and it's not easy what you're doing now, right? But that was a super honest and awesome choice that you made, because that's what you needed to do for you. And it would have been shit if you wouldn't have made that choice. I wouldn't have been able to deal with you at all. There's no way. We'd be done by now.
Professionally.
Professionally, for sure, we'd be done.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just juggling a lot of things. Like add another a newborn to the picture. That was just the cherry on top. Yeah. Or the straw on the camel's back. I don't know. Whichever.
I love you.
I love you.
I don't ever want you to come back to dentistry.
You don't? I
want us to do 15 things bigger
I'm...
outside of dentistry, you know? That's honestly, like, dentistry, I love dentistry. Of course I would love for you to come back today. I love dentistry with you, but dentistry has changed a lot. Dentistry's changed a lot just in the last 3 years. Every industry has, but with, Brad, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Have you heard that new Struggle Jennings drop? So good. So good. Oh, him and his daughter sing that song. So good. I can't wait till they come here in September. Anyway, yeah, I would love for you to come back, but dentistry it's hard and it's changing. It's changing the amount that you need to do to really like stay up on top of stuff is more than before. And I think that we can do a bunch of other stuff other than dentistry. If both of us are in dentistry, it'll be really hard to apply ourselves and get into those other things we really wanted to. So
we'll see.
I'm hoping, yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's not put the carriage in front of the horse.
The carriage in front of the horse?
Let's not put the carriage in front of the horse.
Okay, let's not.
All right, that's my cue.
That sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, mom life.